Okay, when you first receive your RO filter, the first thing to do is to take it out of the box. What you have going from left to right is your pre-filter, which contains carbon, and then there's two additional filters, and ultimately it comes up to your RO filter on the top. Now, a lot of people are confused on how to set these up, so I hope this video clarifies what exactly to do. Now, you do have a bag that comes with it, and inside that bag, this is actually the inner membrane of your RO filter, which we're going to need to install. And then you have two hoses, one black and one blue. You'll notice that on the unit itself, there's a yellow tube and a green tube as well. Okay. Now take your RO filter inner membrane and unscrew the outer canister of the RO filter, which we're going to do by twisting to the left. The inner membrane slides right in like so, with the larger, thicker end sticking outside, and you'll see it actually makes a seal as it presses in. Okay, now we're going to screw that cap back on. Now, as he's doing that, I want to point out this yellow line is the drain line, which ultimately you would put down a floor drain into a maybe a wash tub sink, wash basin, something like that. You can also get a special tap that goes onto a PVC pipe for under the sink, and it'll discharge into your drainage line. What's going to happen when you actually have your filter set up is the yellow line is going to be your drain. It's going to discharge gray water. And going into the unit, on the one side here, it says in, if you look really close, is the water coming in from your house. Then it's going to come in at PSI of about 20 to 40. You're going to have a fast drip coming out of your yellow line and a very slow drip coming out of the output, which we're going to put the blue line on in a second here to show you. The next step is to take your black tube and push it into the input. Actually, just press it right in. Now you'll notice it actually locks, so it can't pull out even when you're pulling on it. And we're going to do the same for the other side. We're going to use a blue line, and that's actually going to be the output. Now the yellow gray water, again, is going to come out at a rate of 3 to 5 times what's going to come out of the blue line. The blue line will be a slow drip, the yellow line will be a fast drip, and the black line will be coming from your house pressure. Now you'll notice it also comes with this other strange item, and what that actually is you can connect your garden hose to this and run it through the filter, or you can hook it up to an output line of your house, your copper line, and that would ultimately, from your cold water, that would ultimately press onto the black tube like so, and of course screw into your house's copper line. Now you can also do something called a saddle tap, a needle tap, which I'll show you in just one moment. Now in your main hydroponic reservoir you have a float valve. That float valve is normally gravity fed, but it can also be pressure fed, in this case from the RO filter. Now we have tubing that's coming off that float valve, and that tubing can actually go directly to the output of your RO filter. So instead of having this black tube on it, you can actually put, or the blue tube on it, excuse me, you can actually use the black tube and plug that right into the output of your filter, or you can take the blue tube and actually screw it right in to the float valve that normally attaches to your hydro reservoir. And now what ultimately is going to happen is water is going to come from your house's normal copper line or pressure line, garden hose, whatever. It's going to go through the filter. It's going to give out a percentage of the water as gray water that's going to come out at 5 times the rate of what will come out the other end, which will be the clean RO pure water, which will ultimately go into your reservoir. Now as your float valve goes up and closes off, it'll actually turn this whole filter off. But once the float valve drops back down, it's going to allow the pressure to flow through the filter and refill your reservoir. Now in this particular case, you don't need to use a backup reservoir, and you basically have an unlimited water supply as long as the water in your house doesn't dry up. So these filters are a real great thing. The other thing about them too is you need to replace the filters. There's the DI, the carbon, and the sediment, and then the RO. Usually in an application for hydroponics like we have, they need replacement every 1.5 to 2 years. But if you have a higher capacity use, then as frequently as 6 months.